gonna go with the hotel. All right, how you doing, everybody out there? I'm Jeff Wise. I'm the host of the Fan Spot, along with my co-host Dre Tucker, and this is the Fan Spot, episode 4, going into week 5. So, Dallas Cowboys go to San Diego and they lose, and here we go with this up and down thing again. These roller coaster Cowboys. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. I'm not even sure what to make of this team. It's like every time I turn around, I think that we're going in a certain direction. We see certain things. We see things that we like. And then we see those things that we've been complaining about. So
it rears its ugly head again.
Yeah. I mean, this play calling. I mean, what are you seeing with this play calling? Because, Dre, I'm telling you, I don't know what to make of it. In my mind, I'm just to kind of give you what I'm thinking here. In my mind, I feel like that Romo has been handicapped. I mean, they're talking about all these different things and all this good stuff that they want to do. And the only change that I see in our offense from last year to this year is the offensive line has improved. Other than that, I'm not sure if I like what I see.
No, I don't like what I see. I mean, it sounds weird. But a wide open Romo is better than the Romo that we're getting. I mean, we're getting a Romo like he's handcuffed. I mean, if you watch him play, it's just he doesn't scramble anymore. I mean, he doesn't make the spectacular play because he's trying not to make a mistake.
And I
he's trying to be a caretaker, and that's not his game.
Right.
He's not a caretaker. He has been brought into this league as a gunslinger. And he has a gunslinger's mentality. And you can't handcuff him. He's not Peyton Manning.
Right.
He's not Tom Brady. Precision. That's not his game. I think the mistakes is just like when Brett Favre played. It fires him up. The creativeness.
And you know what?
Being creative.
See, I think you're on to something there. I think that a lot of people lose sight of part of his game is being reckless. Just like Brett Favre used to be. And I would think that with the type of defense that we have, I mean, the defense has shown some improvement, especially up front. And I think that you should give Romo the opportunity to play his kind of game and allow this defense to be able to go in and simply make stops. I think that Dallas would be a much better team if we played that way. But for some reason, we're doing all this, short stuff. And then it's, Romo's, percentage is up. Interceptions are down, but when was the last time Romo has what? How many yards passing so far this season?
He might have broke 300 once.
Are you serious? See, that doesn't even make a little bit of sense.
I think that was the first game.
And that was the first game. Wow. That didn't even make a little bit of sense to me.
If that's correct. I mean, because, Romo had 210. Last week it was 244. I mean... And against the Chiefs, I don't think he threw for 300. I mean, so...
Yeah. No, he didn't. You're right.
I mean, he's taking care of the ball, which you asked him to do, but then that's not his style of play.
And you know what? Not only that, it's the manner in which they're going about trying to get him to take care of the ball. They're not allowing him to do those Romo things. And those Romo things, I think that every player in the league has their unique skill. Romo's unique skill is his ability to be able to move around, and gunsling. That's part of his skill. But I think that when you take that away from him and you're trying to make him a pocket guy, a Peyton Manning, he's not that guy. I think that what they have Romo doing right now, I think they have him thinking too much. Yeah, and that right there, to me, is a recipe for disaster. This play calling, I look at some of the things that we're doing in our passing game. Williams.
Is this Roy Williams relived?
He seems like Roy. He seems to have that same kind of something about him.
I'm going to tell you this. He's doing something in practice that we're not seeing. Because there's no way he's on this field doing the things that he's doing in games.
In games, right.
I mean, he's showing something in practice and then something else in the game.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand this receiving core. I don't understand where Dez Bryant is. I don't understand where he's at. I mean, okay, for certain plays and certain series, he's there. Okay, I understand that sometimes he doesn't run the most precise routes, but you have to find a way to get him the football.
You do. You
To
absolutely
keep him engaged
Yes.
in what's going on. Williams is not, as you can see, he might make a few receptions, but I'm not seeing the offense thrive on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in turn, okay, you're eliminating Jason Witten, his value. Because, yeah, you're throwing him the ball, but not in Jason Witten times.
Right. Right.
Okay, and then it seems like, okay, you're going away from, then you go away from Williams, and then you go heavy Jason Witten. But just, Jason Witten's running 2-yard patterns. I mean, what tackles is he breaking?
Right.
And even if he breaks a tackle, is he breaking enough tackles to get 8 yards?
You know, the other thing that I had noticed is, you know, when we're talking about the routes that they have these guys running, is Williams. You know, I noticed him running curl routes. See, my issue with that is, you know, he's a tall, lanky guy. You know, and being a tall, lanky guy, it's going to be so much harder for him to get in and out of those breaks. It's going to allow those defensive backs to be able to close in on. Because if you notice that in the last couple of games, every time he runs a curl, the defensive back and the ball is thrown to him, the defensive back is all over him. Because he can't get in and out of those breaks fast enough because he's such a tall, lanky dude. And so his curls are like loops. You know, whereas if you want to run a curl, run it with guys like Cole Beasley or Dwayne Harris. You know, guys that can make smaller, choppier steps, that can make those pop, 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 and make those turns a lot quicker before the defensive back has the opportunity to make plays on their position. And that's not what's happening. I don't know why we have him doing it. You get a guy like Williams, he's a tall, lanky guy. He needs to be your guy that you're going to keep sending down the field. That needs to be his game. You know, and I know, you know, everybody will say, well, you don't want to make him a one-trick pony. Well, my question is this here. If that one trick from this pony is working, then guess what? You do it until the defense figures out how to stop it. That's how you win football games.
Play as a one-trick
Exactly,
pony.
as a one-trick pony. He did it. He basically ran the same kind of routes all the time. Give him an opportunity to just simply beat his man. That's the way I see it.
I mean, as a tall receiver, I mean, jump balls is an option. I mean, as well. I mean, you're a tall guy, so a slant. You know, I mean, like you said, that curl route, that's not for him.
Right.
That's not the routes for him. And like you said, you know, I'm trying to figure out where this offense is headed. I don't know.
That brings me to my next question. Who do you think is to blame here? Because now, well, everybody wanted to get Jason Garrett out as the play caller. And I can remember saying, you know, I'm not sure if Callahan has done anything that makes me feel comfortable with him being the play caller. I remember saying that a season ago. And now here we are, because this is what I remember of Callahan. I remember his Oakland Raiders going to the Super Bowl and his offense getting completely decimated by that Tampa defense. And so, you know, to me, you know, I just wasn't sure if he was going to be the answer. I didn't like the way he ran his offense then. I didn't like the way he ran his offense with a couple of other teams. Now I said, okay, well maybe, you know, we have good players that can do certain things. Maybe he'll be creative. I'm not seeing it.
Well, it's more like Jerry Jones though. It's not like, okay, Jason Garrett has Jason Garrett guys. Jason Garrett has who Jerry Jones wants to pay. He chose Callahan. And I'm saying to myself, okay, like you got Sean Payton in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
We need I'm not saying him per se. I mean, he would have been nice, but I'm saying a guy with that aggressiveness.
Right.
A guy that, okay, Des Bryant, you can't drop a third, if it's 3rd and 15 and you got 17, you can't drop the ball and smile about it. Because that's a play that we needed.
Right.
That turned the game, as well as Jason Garrett's bonehead mistake deciding to kick a 56-yard field goal. I mean, the guy has a leg, but you got to think about what if he does not make it? He's kicking them in warm-ups. What is anybody charging towards him in a warm-up?
Right.
When have you known a guy to kick in warm-ups and somebody blocks it? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I feel comfortable with our kicker from 49 on down.
Mm-hmm.
He's an accurate kicker. He has a leg, but I think in that situation, there's 2 plays in that San Diego game that cost the Cowboys the game. Because even though the Chargers were moving the ball on them, we still had control of the game.
Absolutely.
We shut down after we went up 21-10 as a team. They shut down.
Right.
The offense went silent. That's happened far too many times in the last 4, 5, 6 years. The offense gets stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have an identity. DeMarco Murray. He doesn't seem to me as an every down back.
You know,
because his inconsistency shows up week in and week out. Like I said, when we had an Emmitt Smith, I know that's some time ago, but I'm talking about negative plays didn't deter Emmitt from running the football.
Right.
DeMarco Murray has negative plays, then his whole game is dancing. He don't know which way to go. Just get the ball and go.
Right. You have to be a one cut and go guy. You know, it's funny that you're talking about this running game. You know, and I agree with you. I don't think that DeMarco Murray is an every down back. And in fact, I'm starting to feel like I'm not even sure if he's really the answer. You know, it's something about his game. You know, when he has those negative plays, it seems like he checks out. You know, it seems like that he starts thinking too much. We need guys on this team that play with a little bit more instinct. You know, a lot of our guys are good. You know, they have good abilities, and we have a lot of smart guys on our team. But I think that a lot of our guys get to parts of the game where they start overthinking things, and you can't have that. You have to be instinctive. You have to learn how to read and react. You have to learn how to say, this is what it is, and I'm gonna go get it. You know, because I've seen too many times, you know, balls. You know, looking at the defensive side, but balls are thrown, you know, in certain places. And if our guys are being a little bit more instinctive, they can make some breaks on some of these balls, but that's not happening. You know, and that's where I'm starting to feel, you know, like, you know, at some point, where does Jason Garrett fit into all of this? And what point does Jason Garrett, although, you know, he's not the play caller anymore, but at what point does he sit? But he's the head coach, exactly.
The head coach has the right to override anything that they don't like.
And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Jason Garrett to say, you know, on the defensive side, like, for example, in this game, I see Bruce Carter matched up on Danny Woodhead most of the game.
But the Chargers seen that.
And the Chargers
seen it because if you noticed, and I'm glad you brought this up because that was my next thought. Okay, the Chargers noticed something early, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were confident with the football. When they got the ball, they seen something in our defense, and our defense, for some odd reason, we never adjusted. Danny Woodhead, I mean, he's a fairly decent player, but how's he ending up wide open on several occasions? I mean, that's what I don't understand about this team. I mean, something gets done to you, but in turn you have the same weapons and you can't find the weakness on the other side.
Right.
The Chargers are not stout on defense.
Exactly.
So we were averaging 27 points a game. So where is our offensive efficiency?
You know what? So let me ask this because we started touching on some points of this defense. We're gonna go ahead on and move down to players who need to step up. Who are the players do you think that really need to step up offensively and start making plays? My number one guy is gonna be Jason Witten. I think that Jason Witten has been a little quiet. You know, I'm not seeing Witten get open like I'm accustomed to seeing him get open.
But he's still getting the ball thrown his direction.
And he's getting the ball thrown his direction.
He's not open.
But he yeah, exactly. And so I think that Jason Witten really needs to raise his game. There was a pass that was thrown to him, you know, and it came right to him. And I mean, I understand that the guy, but you gotta use your hands. You gotta reach in. You gotta reach out there and get that football.
But why are you running backwards to catch a ball? So soon as you catch it, where you going? I mean, you're running backwards, and then when they replayed it, it showed he should have caught the pass.
He should have caught the ball.
So okay, that's a 3 and out where we could have kept the ball for another 4 downs.
Mm-hmm.
So anything can happen as long as you're giving your team opportunities to keep the football. Okay, Dez Bryant, He's doing good things certain points of the game.
But I think he needs to raise
I
his
think
game
he got to
too.
raise. Dez is not the best route runner. I'm looking at the game and I'm like, everybody. I mean, every Cowboy fan is crying, get the ball to Dez. But you also have to watch the TV screen and see that Dez doesn't always get separation. So, I mean, every ball can't be a jump ball. Sometimes you're going to throw it up there and say, Dez, go get it.
But see, you know what? But my thinking is this here. Why not? See, why not? See, in my mind, if that's what Daz can do to beat his guy, give him an opportunity to do it. And that's what I'm saying. And do that until the other team figures out a way to stop it. But if they can't stop it, and that's the difference between the Cowboys picking up 20 yards, 30 yards, or even a touchdown, then that's what I'm going to do. You know, and I know that people are going to say, well, you can't do that every time because people are going to know what you're trying to do. Well, you know what? Isn't that what the old Cowboys used to do? We had basically 8 plays that we used to run on offense. And we would just line up and tell the defense, we're going to punch you in the mouth and there's nothing you can do about it. Simple as that. And this offense doesn't have, that mentality.
But we also don't have that personnel we had then. We had a North Turner. We had Jimmy Johnson. Because Jimmy Johnson, even though he was only there for a short time, even the Barry Switzer era was pretty much Jimmy Johnson's player.
Correct.
So we had the horses. I mean, right now we don't even have a leader. Like, DeMarcus Ware is your best defensive player, but he doesn't have a voice. I mean, he's not a guy he tries to lead by example. He's not a screamer and a yeller. So Jason Hatcher, for one game anyway, he stepped up. Mm-hmm. But Jason Hatcher is not your answer. I mean, he's going to make plays, but I'm talking about you need a guy like, okay, you got DeMarcus Ware here, and you have someone opposite him. Selvey can be that guy.
And you know, and Selvey got hurt in that game.
Yeah, that hurt us.
You know, and that really hurt us. You know, and I tell you what, it's funny because, you know, I was explaining to people how decimated the Cowboys really were on that defensive line. I don't think that people realize that. But we're going to get into that. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this Dallas Cowboys defense because there's a lot of things that we need to cover with these guys. So just stay tuned.